For the reverence of the gospel, shall we all stand as we read this powerful gospel? Then they arrived at the country of the Gerasenes, which is opposite Galilee. As he stepped out on land, a man of city who had demons met him. For a long time he had worn no clothes, and he did not live in the house but in the tombs. When he saw Jesus, he fell down before him and shouted at the top of his voice, "What have you done to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you, do not torment me." For Jesus has commanded the unclean spirit to come out of the man. For many times it had seized him. He was kept under guard and bound with chains and shackles. But he would break the bonds and be driven by the demons into the wild. Jesus then asked him, "What is your name?" He said, "Legion," for many demons had entered him. They begged him not to order them to go back into the abyss. Where there on the hillside a large herd of swine was feeding, and the demons begged Jesus to let them enter this. So he gave the permission. Then the demons came out of the man and entered the swine, and the herd rushed down the steep bank in the lake and was drowned. When the swineherd saw what had happened, they ran off and told it in the city and in the country. Then people came out to see what had happened. And when they came to Jesus, they found the man from whom the demons had gone sitting at the feet of Jesus, clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Those who had seen it told them how the one who had been possessed by demon has been healed. Then all the people of the surrounding country of the Gerasenes asked Jesus to leave them, for they were seized with great fear. So he got into a boat and returned. The man from whom demons had gone begged that he might go be with him. But Jesus sent him away, saying, "Return to your home and declare how much God has done for you." So he went away, proclaiming throughout the city how much Jesus has done for him. Here was the Spirit saying to the world. Please be seated. Thanks to be God. Church, have you ever gotten a phone call that sounded serious, but when you found out that's a scam? You check your inbox, you check your inbox email, and it looks like official, but realize it's fake. Another scam. But you got a Facebook friend request for someone you're already friends with, and then you see a post saying, "Don't accept request from me. I've been hacked." Have you ever been scammed? These days, we got more scam calls, emails, Facebook friend requests than the real ones. Those scammers are professional liars and find a million ways to scam you. They know what to say. They promise to fix your computer if there is a virus, or claim you missed a payment to pay your government payment or something, or pretend to be a company that you trust. Their goals is always to take what doesn't belong to them. They lie, they steal, and they lie. Similarly, in this passage, we just read this morning, here what we met the ultimate scammer, Satan, who had scammed a man out of his identity, his peace, his mind, and his community. Jesus called him a liar and a father of lies in John 8:44. From the beginning in Genesis 3, he scammed Adam and Eve in thinking they would be like God, not only to lead them into a sin and separation. His intention is always to steal, kill, and destroy. A scammer, by definition, is one who deceives others through a falsehood for personal gain, and that is a Satan's mission, to destroy God's image in humanity, to destroy God's people. In Luke chapter 8, Jesus is in the right middle of his ministry. I think he's been doing ministry in this area for a long time. He's been busy healing, seeking, casting out demons, preaching the good news, and challenging the religious leader, especially Jews who opposed him. He's been pouring out his life in the ministry for a long time. And as last week in the passage, as Martha preached from the last week passage, Jesus is exhausted and he fall asleep on the boat. While they were crossing the lake, a violent last week from the last week passage, while they were crossing the lake, they was hit by a storm. The disciples were terrified and woke up crying, "Master, we are going to die." But then they witnessed a miracle. Jesus stood up and spoke storm, and immediately it calmed down. The disciples were amazed and asked these questions. This disciple has been with Jesus for a long time. They've been walking. They've been witnessing Jesus' ministry for a long time. And here in this violent storm, in the midst of violent storm, they saw the miraculous work of Jesus coming down the storm. And then they asked this question, "Who is this that even the wind and the waves obey him?" Now in today's passage, Jesus saw his power not just over the nature, but over the supernatural powers. He met a man who is possessed by many demons for a long time, so that many that no one could help him. No, he needs help, but no one ever helped him to take out these demons. But everything changes when Jesus show up in this region. But before we jump into this passage, it is really important to understand who Satan is and what his purpose is and where he's going to belong, what's his end. And Bible is give us like some clear direction of who Satan is and his purpose and where is his destinations. Satan, also known as the devil, and throughout the scripture he portrayed as a primary enemy of God, a God of God, the truth, and all humanity. His name literally means adversary or accuser. He is a deceiver, a tempter, and a destroyer. Satan is a created being, a fallen angel who rebelled against God out of pride and lust for divine power. Satan wants the position of God. Many scholars points to Isaiah 14:12-15 and Ezekiel 28:12-17 as an earthly king, but they are desperately seeking for the power. And in Isaiah 14:12 it says, "How have you fallen from heaven, O day star, son of dawn? How you are cut down to the ground, you who laid the nation low. He tries to rise, and God cast him down. He lost his place in heaven, but didn't lose his desire to destroy." We see his identity as an accuser in Job 1:9, where Satan appears before God and says, does Job fear God? For no reason. He was trying to accuse Job's faith. He actually questioning your faith as well, always trying to prove your loyalty to God is fake. In Matthew 4 says, he's a tempter. He tried to lead Jesus into a sin by tempting him in the wilderness after Jesus has fasted for 40 days. Of course, you will get hungry after 40 days of fasting, right? And how Satan tempted? Satan offered food, power, and glory. But Jesus resists every lie by standing on the truth of Word of God. In verse 7, Jesus said to him, again, it is written, do not put the Lord your God to the test. Jesus himself describes Satan's true nature in John 8:44. He was a murderer from the beginning, and he does not stand in truth because there is no truth in him. He's a liar and the father of lies. That means whenever Satan speaks, he speaks deception, twisting the truth to the destroyer's life. He is also a deceiver of the nations. In Revelation 12:9 says, the great dragon was thrown down, the ancient serpent, who is called the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the whole world. From the Eden to now, he's been at work, and his work is to deceive mind of the people, to deceive family, to deceive the culture, to deceive the community. And Peter here warns us in 1 Peter 5:8, discipline yourself. Keep alert. Like a roaring lion, your adversary, the devil, prowls around looking for someone to devour. he wants to devour. He wants to captivate. He wants to inhabit people. He is always on the hunt, roaring with fear, shame, addiction, anxiety, lie, and destructions. Let's be clear here. Satan is not some equal force to God, because God has no rival. You have no rival. You have no equal. Now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom. Yours is the glory. Yours is the name above all name. That's the song we sing, because God has no rival. God has no equal. Satan is powerful, but not all powerful. He's not divine. He doesn't have the attributes of God like God has. He's not omnipotent. He's not omniscient. He is not omnipresent. He cannot be everywhere. He cannot create, redeem, or save. And his end is already written in Revelation 20:10, tells us, and the devil who had deceived them was thrown into the lake of fire and sulfur, and will be tormented day and night forever and ever. That's his final destination. Defeat, judgment, and the internal separation from the presence of God. Jesus said in Luke 18, I watched Satan fall from heaven like a flash of lightning. His fall was swift, and his fatal is sealed. His fall shows that he has already lost, and his judgment and final judgment is certain. Church, this is our enemy. This is the enemy of this person who is possessed by demons. And Jesus has supreme authority over this supernatural power, or our enemies. As we see in verse 26 to verse 26 to 30, Luke describes this. This is the first recorded time Jesus and his disciple enter into Gentile territory in the Gospel of Luke. He has never been in the Gentile territory. They arrived in the region of Gerasenes, which is the part of Decapolis, a group of 10 cities with a strong Greek and Roman influence, mostly populated by non-Jewish people and Gentiles people. Most all scholars believe that this special event happens near the modern village of Kursi, on the southeast side of the Sea of Galilee. This location is very important because this location has ancient tombs and steep shoreline leading down into the water. And we see that disciple just has been through a nightmare of this violent storm. They were trapped in the violent storm on the lake, fearing for their lives. And Jesus calmed the storm. And they might be still trying to catch breath and trying to get into the land. And as they finally reached to the land, maybe they were hoping to take a break. They want to take break because they were fearing with this. They had the fear of this violent storm. But as soon as they step out of the boat, here comes the wild, naked men running, screaming, screaming and coming from the graveyard. Something like a horror movie, I'm not a fan of horror movies, just to let you know. They're probably thinking, seriously? We just survived a storm. Now this? What did we get ourselves into following Jesus? Maybe sometime that question hit us also. Oh, God, Jesus, I do this, I do that. Now again you are giving this? In Jewish law, both contacted with dead and the public nakedness were considered unclean. This man was physically, mentally, socially, and spiritually broken and unclean in everywhere. Why? Because he was under the tormented of demon's power. The demon has taken over his life, isolating him from his family, stealing away from his dignity, and dragging him into darkness. And that's what the Satan always tries to do: steal, kill, and destroy, as John 10:10 says. When he saw Jesus, he cried out and fell before him. He's not bowing before God, but he fell before God and said in a loud voice, "What do you want me, Jesus, Son of God Most High? I beg you, do not torture me or do not torment me." The one thing here is pretty clear that the demons know exactly who Jesus was. As soon as the demon-possessed man see Jesus, he falls down and cries out, not in worship, but in fear. He doesn't call Jesus a good man or a wise teacher. He calls him by his true name, Jesus, Son of the Most High God. It means Jesus has the full authority and power from the one true God. They fear him because he's the sovereign, not just over the people and nature, but over the spiritual world as well, including Satan and all his forces. The demon recognized this instantly. No confusion, no doubt. This is the Jesus, Son of God. Maybe the disciples were still figuring out who Jesus was with that verse. Who is this man? Just as a few verses earlier in Luke 8:25, after Jesus calmed the storm, that Jesus asked, "Who is this?" Even the wind and the waves obeys him. They were amazed but unsure what the Jesus' identity was. Meanwhile, the demons are crystal clear. You are the Son of God, Son of the Most High God. Even today, many people feel the same way, curious about Jesus, want to know about Jesus, maybe impressed by his work, but they want to believe who is God. They don't want to believe who is God. They don't want to put his trust in Jesus. They don't want to surrender. Church, knowledge without surrendering isn't enough. Maybe we know Jesus for a long time, but if we have not believed in him, it's meaningless. James 2:19 says, "You believe that God is one? Good." Even the demons believe and shuddered. Even the demons believe the Son, Jesus, the Most High God. In another word, just believing in God's existence doesn't save you. We believe, but church, it is possible to believe the right things in our head, but not to change in our heart. True faith isn't just knowing the truth, but it is surrendering. It is submitting to Jesus. The demons fear the judgment, and so should we. Look at again what the demon says in Luke 8:28. I beg you. He's asking permission. I beg you, Jesus, no, I beg you, do not torture me. Do not torment me. The word torment here refers to the real internal punishment. The demons knew their end. They knew there's a place of judgment prepared for them. Here we see that demons recognize and submit to Jesus' authority. This is not one above Jesus, not even. There is no one above Jesus, not even the demons. Church, we live in a world that's spiritually. We live in a world, and there are so many people. They are spiritually curious, and there is a deep confusion also. People are chasing peace through horoscope, palm reading, maybe meditation app in our tip of our fingers. We search so many ways to find God, so many ways. And today's people still think that Jesus is just a good man. People is just a life coach. People is just one option among many other gods. There are many other options. People say, I believe in God, but I'm not religious. People says, I'm spiritual, but no, not in Jesus, or I don't do church things. This man in this story was tormented, isolated, and broken, just like many today trapped in addiction, shame, depression, and darkness. The world offers self-help and therapies, but only Jesus brings the true freedom. The same Jesus who set the demon-possessed man free in Luke 8 is alive today. And he still has the power to break the chain of fear, shame, addiction, and spiritual boundaries and lies. He is Jesus, the Son of Most High God, who took on the full punishment for our sin so that we could not face the internal torment. Now, in a culture where people try to manage their brokenness with self-help, temporary fixes, spiritual substitute, we find to remember that all, we try to remember that only Christ can truly heal and deliver. Church, this is our call. Not just to believe with our mind, but to surrender our whole lives, to trust Him, to love Him, and to follow Him. He is the righteous judge. Yes, He is also the full of mercy and compassion. He didn't come to torment us. John 3:17 says, He came to save us. He came to save us. Let us be humble ourselves before God and walk Him into freedom only He can give. You know, as we continue to see in verse 30 and 33, here we see the transformation and restoration of this demon-possessed man for a long time. In verse 30, Jesus asked the demon-possessed man, "What is your name?" And he answered, "Legion." The word legion refers to a community. It refers to a large military unit of up to 6,000 soldiers, and showing just how these 6,000 demons is possessed in this man. He's been completely tormented. He's inside and outside. He's been in the Mark and Matthew, they wrote in their language they use is very differently. This man is cutting his fleshes. When something happened too much, you start to sow them. This man has been tortured for his life. And here in verse 31, the demons begged Jesus not to send them into the abyss, a place of deep confinement for the evil spirit, also called the bottomless pit in Revelation 9:11 and in 9:11. According to 2 Peter, some fallen angels already have been there, cast into this place, held there until the final judgment. And Paul in Romans 10:7 refers that abyss as the place of dead or unreachable is in contrast to heaven. And the demon here begged Jesus not to send there, because in the abyss there is no law. They can't inhabit human. They can't inhabit animals. Or their spirit can't indwell in another person. Abyss is a place there's no law. The demon begged not to torment it, even though demon has been tormented this man for I don't know how long for who knows how long this man has been tormented, And this is the reflect the nature of evil, selfish, cruel, and never willing to face the same pain it causes to this person. James 3:15 remind us that selfish ambition and envy are not just the bad traits, they are demonic. And Jesus stands with full authority over evil. He confronted darkness and prepared to set this man free. As we move forward in Luke 8:32, Jesus allowed a legion of demons to enter a herd of pigs, where they rush into lake and drown. And theologically, this shows that Jesus' absolute authority over the demon's power, his power to restore even the most tormented person, And culturally, pigs were considered unclean in Jewish law. But this even take place in the Gentile region of Decapolis, where pigs farming was common. Pigs were the valuable part of the local economy in the Gentile territory. They used for money, and unlike in Jewish culture where the pigs were unclean, this shows that Jesus came to bring healing and salvation even outsiders, even to the people those are unclean, not just the Jews. And Mark Gospel tells us that how many pigs were there. There was Mark precisely right. There were 2,000 pigs. Probably $2,000 in our culture today, if we say $100 per pigs, But here are some pigs jokes, okay? What do you call a pig playing tug of war? What do you call a pig playing tug of war? Pulled pork, yeah. Yeah. What do you call a pig with no legs? Groundhog, yeah. What's a pig favorite Shakespeare play? What's a pig favorite Shakespeare play? Hamlet. Yeah. Okay, the final one. What do you call a pig who mastered karate? Pork chop. Yeah. Okay. Jesus showed his total authority over evil and his power to deliver people from spiritual bondage. The fact that the demons obey Jesus proved that he is more powerful than the forces of darkness. Jesus set a man free from demons shows that the evil destroys and proves that he came to bring freedom to everyone, even those who are far from God. Jesus tells us in John 10:10, the thieves come only to steal, kill, and destroy, but I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. You know, what a beautiful picture of Jesus' love for the world, for the lost. What a beautiful picture that Jesus portrayed here. We met a man controlled by many demons, living alone among the tombs, rejected, broken, and forgotten. And we don't know his full story. But maybe he was someone's son. Or maybe he was someone's brother. Or maybe someone is praying for this man. What amazing that Jesus crossed the lake just for this man. Just for this man. And church, today I'm going to tell you, no one is too far gone from his grace. What a transformation we see from this passage. He was once naked, now he's clothed. He was wild, now he's calm. He was tormented, now he is healed. He was isolated, now he's sitting in the community at the feet of Jesus. He was out of his control, now he is in right mind. He was possessed, now he is free. There is no one too far gone from Jesus to save. This man was the definition of hopeless. He was a hopeless person. So ask yourself, if Jesus came all the way just for this man, he comes to us. He comes to you. He comes to the broken. He comes to the people, those who are forgotten. And maybe you know someone that you've been praying for a long time. Or maybe you've been praying for your relationship for a long time. Or maybe you've been praying for your marriage for a long time. Don't stop. Don't stop to prayer. Jesus will show up. But hear this truth, church. No one is too far for Jesus to save. When 99 is there, when 99 is with Jesus, safe and comfort, Jesus goes for one that is lost to save just this one person. As we see in verse 34 and 39, for the first time in a long time, his mind was clear. This possessed man is clear now. He could think straight. He has no more anger. He has no more fear. He's no tormented. He just has peace. And he finally wanted to keep his clothes on. He's no more nakedness. He felt clean inside out. This man was mentally, socially, and spiritually and physically restored. The community, and here we see the herd of pigs. They see this act, and they went to the township, and they told to the people. And as the community come together, now something happens here, is they were feared. First, they were fear of this evil possessed man. Now they were fear with Jesus, how he is healed. Instead of rejoicing over this man's freedom, they were asked Jesus to leave. One thing, maybe their pig was lost. Their income, source of money was lost. The evil took all the pig herd down to the river. There is a loss of financial. And sometimes, here what we see is like sometimes Jesus just doesn't want us to be comfortable. We are so comfortable in our ways, in our lives, in our place. We don't like to be lost of anything. And that's why these people might be fear. This might be fear. And the man who was healed begged, and here we see that the man who was healed begged to Jesus to go with him. To go with Jesus, can I come you? Maybe he has a fear of, if I go back, maybe people will condemn me. No. Jesus says, no. Jesus says, no. Go home and tell what God has done for you. Go home, what God has done for you. Though the people reject Jesus, he still loved them. He still loved this community and sent someone to share the good news. These people might be thinking, oh, Jesus left. No. His mission has not left there. This man became the first missionary to the Gentile to preach Jesus in the community where he was not accepted before. That's the heart of Jesus, full of mercy. Even for the people who push him away, Jesus comes to them. Jesus comes to them, And the Son of God, in 1 John 3:8 says, the Son of God appeared to destroy the work of devil, and that what Jesus did then and now. Yes, the enemy is real, but he is defeated. If you are feeling under attack, whether in your thoughts, in your health, in your family, or in your spirit, run to Jesus. He alone can bring true freedom. As 2 Corinthians 3:17 says, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. So come to him today for healing, for hope, and for the strength to tell others what he has done. This reminds us that our personal testimony is so powerful. This tells us your personal story is so powerful, And Jesus sent this man with not the degree of college, with not the degree of theology, with not the degree of seminary, what they teach us, but with the testimony, what Jesus did for this person, to go and tell people what Jesus has done for them, It affirms that salvation is not the end of our story, it's the beginning of our calling. The man once was tormented by demons is now set as a witness to transform the community, to transform the people's life, to share the goodness of people, the good news of Jesus, In that moment, Jesus commissions him as a missionary, showing that your story of what God has done is a sacred, sufficient, and spirit-filled. Are you telling others what God has done in your life, church? Are you telling others what God has done in your life? Or are we still waiting to feel ready? Or are you still waiting to go to the seminary? Your testimony, your life, what God has done for you, that's the message that we want to share to our community. Yes, church, enemy is real. I believe in Satan because I believe in Jesus. He prowls like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. But hear this, he is already defeated. Jesus has triumphed over him through cross and through the empty tomb. Are there any areas in your life where you feel under attack today? Are there any areas you feel you are battling with anxious thought, depressions, or conflict in your marriage, struggle in your health, in your relationship, or in your mind? Do not dismiss these things just like a life stuff. This happens every day. Oh, this is just another life happens. No, you may be facing spiritual warfare more than you realize. But here's the hope. We proclaim Jesus still delivers. The one who conquers sin, death, and the devil invites you to himself with compassion and with authority. Church, hear this. True witness flow from the personal liberations. When Christ set us free, our testimony became proclamation of God's power to redeem, to restore, and to reassign our lives for his calling. So church, call in his name today for freedom, for healing, and for peace. If you don't know him yet today, if you know Jesus, but if you haven't believed him today, maybe today is the day of salvation. God has bring this salvation for you and for me. And let our testimony be a witness of Jesus, that what has God has done for you. This is the word of God for us. Thanks to be God.